Welcome to our new home. Down here in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yep.
We moved in the hottest summer in Arizona history. And we were out there on the hottest day moving. I was on like an hour of sleep over like a 3-day period. It didn't go well. We'll just say that.
It was intense.
It was intense to say the least. But it's
intense.
wonderful. We're not completely set up yet. We still obviously have like a little blank area over here currently. But we'll give you a tour when we're done. So far, though, it's looking awesome.
It looks really good. And we're still workshopping like this setup as well. So.
Yep.
But we're trying with the table now. We're going to have a table.
Yes, I'm looking forward to this because I like little things to display, like the movie we watched and all that stuff. So, anyways, let's discuss Cobweb, which we got to see in theaters.
We did!
Last night, right next to our house.
It was so good.
Right, not having to drive an hour to Flagstaff and an hour back, and it takes like 5 hours around a whole night.
Yeah.
Right?
We just went and saw it. It was like an hour and a half, and we were home.
Yeah, we went out to dinner first.
Yeah.
Then we came home and watched like 30 minutes of this movie, and then went to the movies, and we left like 10 minutes before the movie started. Mm-hmm. And we still got there with like 10 minutes of trailers still going.
Yeah.
It was wild.
It was pretty incredible.
It was really wild.
So.
Very cool to have such a big theater next to us like this that gets everything. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about Cobweb. You guys are done hearing about this place for now. So this stars Lizzie Kaplan, who's amazing. She gave one of the best performances I've ever seen in my life in Castle Rock Season 2 as Annie Wilkes. And Anthony Starr, Homelander. People know him from Banshee, but we know him from The Boys as Homelander. Yeah. And, just a little FYI, he scares the hell out of Kaylee.
He really does.
As far as the plot synopsis goes, I mean, this is definitely one you want to go to as blind as you can.
Yeah, we literally knew nothing about it.
Nothing.
We didn't see a trailer.
Knew the title.
Yeah, we knew the title. We knew who was in it. And that was it. So we had no idea what we were watching. And
no.
I do think that that's the best way to watch a lot of movies, but definitely something like this.
Yeah, this one definitely depends on you not knowing a bunch. Because there are like twists and reveals throughout the film. And I haven't watched a trailer yet to see like what would and would not be in here.
Right.
But I can only imagine. So as far as the briefest synopsis I can give you, this is about a family, husband and a wife, and they have a small son who's 10-ish?
Yeah, like 8 to 10 or so.
Somewhere in that area. And he thinks he's hearing voices coming from his room, and he's all scared about it. And his parents are trying to convince him that it's all in his head. There you go. I mean, that's really all you need to know.
That's a good little...
This is a synopsis there. Okay, so, was this theater-worthy? Would this have been better suited for VOD? I don't know. I really enjoyed this a lot. I'm a pretty big fan of it, and I think the first thing I want to say about this movie is its tone is really dark, almost fairy tale-esque. We had talked about when we were on the way home that this film actually kind of reminded me of like a modern Grimm's fairy tale.
Yeah.
And the tone throughout was very dark, and I liked that. On the flip side of the darkness, this movie was too dark when it came to the actual brightness of the picture.
Visually very dark.
I literally had to ask Kaylee a couple times, like, what was that? I couldn't see it. And that wasn't on purpose, because there was like a name tag you were supposed to be able to read. And Kaylee saw it somehow. I think she just made it up. Because I straight up didn't see anything. I was like, he read it, and I was like, what? I couldn't make out any, like, form. I knew that it was supposed to be a word.
Right.
But, like, outside of that, it was just nothing to me. And then she said it said something, and I was like, No, you're lying. So there's that aspect that I definitely want to address. And number 2 is that I feel like this feels like nothing I've seen in theaters in a while. Yeah. Like, this does not have a Hollywood flavor to it. Right. This feels like its own unique vision. Mm-hmm. Like it or not, it just doesn't feel like the standard traditional horror film I would see in theaters, you know, a la The Conjuring or like any of the Blumhouse type movies, or, you know, the more pristine looking. Yeah. And I don't want to like say that's a quality issue. It just felt indie. It felt different, and it just it felt like a limited release movie, which is exactly what it was.
Yeah. I really liked the movie as well. When we were talking during our drive home, I don't like how the latter the latter quarter of the film is handled, but I won't really say a whole lot about it because it would get into spoilers. But overall, I really enjoyed the movie, and everything that you were saying, like about the tone and the fairy tale quality, I think that those are all really cool, like traits that it has. And there's like one sequence in particular that I thought was like a super effective, like scary, freaky sequence. I really enjoyed it.
It's a dream sequence.
It's a dream sequence, but it's like, I don't know, it worked really well for me. And I thought everybody's performance was really good too. You know, from like the main characters, yeah. Of course. We had a really nice audience experience too with this. I feel like the people in our audience were really reactive to the film in a good way. Yeah. It was kind of funny, of course, because it was like really dramatic, but it definitely enhanced, parts of the film. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a whole lot more to say without getting into spoilers, I feel like, but I definitely would recommend it. I think if you have an opportunity to go see it in theaters, you should support it. And I guess the only other thing is just that I think it would have been really cool to have it released closer to Halloween, because I think it would have done really well, like during spooky season.
This movie is set during Halloween, yeah. And it has a very Halloween vibe. Yes. So for people who do really enjoy it, this could become a yearly watch for them to get into the Halloween season spirit. And I do think that this film has that vibe to it. Like a Trick or Treat or something. Yeah. The dream sequence in which she was referring to reminded me very heavily, tonally and just visually, of a Flanagan, Oculus, most, specifically, of his filmography. It felt like a scene straight out of Oculus, honestly. Mm-hmm. Now, as far as the climax, the finale of the film, we'll say the last 20 minutes or so, I was super engaged, super into the movie, and was all about it up until that point. There's something that happens unexpectedly, and then there's the next big reveal. And while I was into that, because there's absolutely J-horror vibes going on in here, which I was not expecting, and also like to point out that there are some very obvious, to extreme Halloween fans, very obvious homages to John Carpenter's Halloween in here. So you've definitely got a lot of things you can like in this movie too. Yes. It definitely feels like a greatest hits album of so many different projects. But as far as the last act goes, or the last 15-20 minutes of the movie goes, when you get that final reveal, that was the thing that I felt stumbled. And while I didn't hate it, I actually liked it a lot. I liked the idea behind it. I liked, the look of certain things and whatnot. I just felt like that wasn't properly utilized. And if it had been, this movie would have been knocked out of the park, home run for me, and I would have been raving about it. And it's not because of the choices they made, for the story. Right. It's just visually how they set up scare gags. Yeah. That felt repetitive and very predictable and not scary. And that's where the film really wanted to be its scariest.
Right.
And I felt that's where it was its least effective. And it's really just how they utilized this new element that they incorporated into the film. And that was the biggest downer for me. I kept sitting there being like, man, this film was so good, and this happened, and I really like this idea, and I really like the look of certain things, and I really like all that stuff, but the fear factor is de-escalating, and it should be escalating.
Right.
And it's because they don't know how to frame this thing. They don't know how to utilize this thing in an effective manner. Yeah. And that was a shame. That's where the film really, hit its speed bump. And I was like, no, because, of course, the ending is everything. And had that happened earlier in the movie, and then it landed, the ending, then it would have been cool. But when you stumble in the end, that brings the film down quite a bit. But this is that kind of film, though, where I think on subsequent viewings, because I now know what to expect with that and will accept it, I can definitely enjoy it more in the future. And it is absolutely something I would watch again.
Yeah, me too, for sure.
So, I'm, as Kaylee said, I'm 100% with her. Maybe because there was going to be too much competition or whatever. It's a limited release kind of anyway. To be fair, in Phoenix, it's playing in 6 theaters. So that's a bigger limited release.
Yeah, when I hear limited release, I think
But it's not in every theater.
I think
it's not a wide.
Yeah.
It's limited. It's in maybe 1/3 of the theaters.
Yeah,
so that's limited.
I think limited. I think it's in
1.
10 theaters in the whole country or something.
That's
I think an extreme, but
that's a different. I forget what they call that. That's not a limited release. That's a they have a name for that. It's even smaller.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there would have been more competition in October, September, October, but. I don't know. I do think that it would have been really nice in that season, and especially right now, because there's Oppenheimer and Barbie and all these really big and Indiana Jones, big summer blockbusters are out right now, and this is not a summer blockbuster horror film. Insidious too, right? That's another one that obviously was meant to draw in a large crowd. But this one, because of the tone and everything, it would have been a lot better released. And I don't know what the issue with that would have been, but
I don't think they had much faith in it. And,
maybe not, yeah.
They had faith in it enough to drop it in theaters, but not much to promote it.
Yeah.
Right? I've seen 0 ads, 0 promotions for this film, and I think that's a shame. I will say, on the other side of that, though, this would be an insanely complicated film to make a trailer for without spoiling things, because this is an insanely spoiler-heavy film.
Yes, there's a lot of twists, and all the twists are really cool.
And they happen pretty early, and they continue to keep happening. Yeah. So how do you make a trailer without spoiling those things? I don't know. I'll have to watch the trailer and see what they did with it. I'm going to assume they probably just stuck to the first 15 minutes.
Right.
I don't know.
You should not watch a trailer.
No, I wouldn't assume.
You should take our word and just go watch it if everything we've described sounds like something you'd like.
The good thing is that this got a theater release. I'm glad I got to see it in the theater, and because it just got dropped in theaters, I'm hoping that they'll hold off on the VOD release for September, October. Drop it then, give it new life. People are going to be looking for these kinds of movies, and when these kinds of movies are new and they're just dropped and they're in October, that's when people will rent them on VOD at home. Yeah. Because if it comes out in a week from now, then it will be forgotten by October time. And I really do want this film to get eyes on it during the Halloween season. I think it's absolutely worth your time during that time. If you want to see it now, you should. But if you want to wait, I'd watch it around Halloween. It fits the season super well. Very effective film for the most part. Cool performances. Lizzie Kaplan rules, as always.
Yeah.
And just a cool film. A very cool, unique film that stumbles in its last act, but otherwise totally worth your time.
Yes. Yep.
So, anyways, what do you guys think of this new setup? I mean, we're going to change it.
What should we do different, if anything?
We got specific franchises now. We have a Friday the 13th wall there, a Halloween wall here, Nightmare on Elm Street up there, Good Guys, Chucky, you know, Child's Play down there, Texas Chainsaw Massacre stuff's over here, and in the middle and down is just going to be like random franchises. The bathroom is Jaws.
Yeah.
Right? We're you know,
we're having fun decorating and organizing everything.
Yeah, we're condensing franchises into areas because we have a lot of stuff from like the big franchises, like the main three especially.
Right.
And I love seeing them having their own life. And you guys will see these soon once they are complete. They're almost complete. I'd say they're 99% of the way done. I just want to put a couple extra little touches on them. But other than that, you'll see it soon. And see this soon. But other than that, guys, we'll see you in the next video, which we're going to do right now. All right. See you there. Bye.